Friends, in the previous part, we saw Kate trying to escape the terrifying abandoned hospital, while black-eyed patients and a dark supernatural entity hunted her through the endless hallways. In the end, one horrifying voice echoed throughout the entire building. "Kate!" Before everything disappeared into darkness. Now the story continues. Kate kept running through the endless hallway as fast as she could. Her breathing became heavier with every second, and her legs felt weaker and weaker. The hospital no longer looked normal. The walls were now covered in moving black smoke, and strange shadows crawled across the ceiling like living creatures. From distant rooms, she could hear crying whispers and horrible screams echoing through the darkness. Suddenly, the hallway lights started shutting off one by one behind her. Click. Click. Click! Darkness swallowed the corridor step by step, as if something invisible was chasing her from behind. Then she heard a dragging sound slowly coming closer. Krrr! Scraw! It sounded as if someone was dragging chains across the floor. Kate slowly turned around in fear, but saw only darkness at the end of the hallway. Then suddenly an old rusty wheelchair rushed toward her at full speed. Nobody was sitting in it, yet it moved violently on its own. Kate screamed and jumped out of the way just before it smashed into the wall. The moment it hit the wall, dark blood slowly began spreading across the metal surface, forming terrifying words. "You cannot leave." Kate's heart nearly stopped. Suddenly, the hospital speakers turned on by themselves, and a distorted, broken voice echoed throughout the building. "Patient 47 is awake." Immediately, every hospital room door slowly creaked open at the same time. Inside every room, black-eyed patients stood silently staring at her. Some of them had twisted, broken necks, while others had blood running from their eyes. Then slowly, every single patient turned their heads toward Kate together and smiled. Kate ran again with all the strength she had left. While running, she suddenly noticed a glowing exit sign far ahead. Hope flashed through her mind for the first time. She sprinted toward the exit and violently pushed the door open, but the second she stepped through it, her blood froze completely. There was no outside world waiting for her, no parking lot, no city lights, only another endless dark hallway stretching forever into darkness. It felt like the hospital itself was alive and trapping her inside. Then suddenly, Lily's voice whispered behind her, "Kate." Slowly, Kate turned around. Lily stood there covered in blood. Her eyes had turned black once again, but tears rolled down her pale face. She looked terrified. In a trembling voice, Lily whispered, "It won't let us leave." Then behind Lily, the same tall, dark figure slowly appeared from the shadows. Its glowing white eyes stared directly at Kate, while black smoke leaked from its body. Slowly, the creature began sinking into Lily's back like darkness entering her body. Lily screamed in pain as black veins spread across her skin. Kate rushed toward her friend, but suddenly emergency alarms exploded throughout the hospital. Red warning lights flashed violently across the hallway while sirens screamed through the building. Then one nearby metal door slowly opened by itself. Above it were written the words, "Patient 47. Kate hesitated for a moment before slowly stepping inside. The room looked ancient and abandoned. Deep claw marks covered every wall while old chains hung from the ceiling. In the center stood a rusted chair covered with straps and dried bloodstains. Across every wall, the same horrifying sentence had been written over and over again in blood. "It lives inside fear." Suddenly, heavy breathing echoed from the darkest corner of the room. Kate pointed her flashlight toward the shadow and screamed. A thin, broken-looking man sat chained to the floor. His skin looked gray and rotten while his eyes were completely white. Slowly, he lifted his head and smiled unnaturally. "You are too late," he whispered softly. Kate stepped backward in terror, but suddenly the man's voice changed into the exact same deep whisper that had been haunting her since the hotel. "Now it wants to enter you." Suddenly, every light inside the room exploded. Darkness swallowed everything instantly. Only 2 glowing white eyes remained visible in front of her. Then Kate felt something cold slowly touching the back of her neck. She could feel icy fingers sliding across her skin while a freezing breath moved beside her ear. A whisper echoed through the darkness. "Don't be afraid. Let me in." Kate tried to scream, but suddenly her body froze completely. She could no longer move her arms or legs. Then horrifying images suddenly flooded her mind. She saw dozens of people screaming inside dark hospital rooms. She saw patient 47 scratching the walls until his fingers bled. And then she saw something far worse. She saw herself standing.
In front of a mirror with completely black eyes, smiling unnaturally. Kate finally screamed at the top of her lungs. At that exact moment, every patient throughout the hospital began screaming together as well. The entire building shook violently while the whisper echoed everywhere around her. "Let me in. Let me in. Let me in." Then, suddenly, everything became silent. Completely silent. Kate slowly opened her eyes and realized she was no longer standing inside the hospital room anymore. She was now standing alone inside the exact same hotel room where everything had first started. Friends, if you want to discover why Kate has returned to the hotel room where the nightmare began, and whether the dark entity has finally entered her body, make sure you subscribe to Fear Inside right now, because the next part will reveal the darkest secret of Patient 47.